I'm Adam Collins, this is Crick Buzz Centerstage in the middle of Adelaide Oval ahead of the second test match between Australia and Pakistan. In Test cricket, we all have preferences. We all have our favourites. Favourite player, favourite bowler, favourite ground. And in the case of Adelaide Oval, it's my favourite Test ground. Much like Harsha Bogle said last year, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world to watch cricket. Mixing old and new, the development, the new grandstands that went up about 10 years ago. Then the old hand-reel scoreboard, one of the last remaining in the world. The hill there as well, where the punters gather. And a lot of fans come along to Test matches at Adelaide when they're played with the pink ball underlights. This will be the fourth time we've had a day-night test match at Adelaide Oval since the very first one back in November of 2015. Australia arrive here with the captain Tim Paine able to say the two words that captains love saying after winning a test match: no change. No change to the Australian 11 tomorrow, which means that James Pattinson and Michael Neser, who are the two squad bowlers, won't be required. In the case of Pattinson, he'll be released to state cricket, and Cameron Bancroft won't be called upon either. He'll also be returning to the Sheffield Shield. For Payne's part, perhaps the most interesting part of the press conference, though, was a discussion around Stephen Smith and around how little he sleeps during test matches. It's a slightly quirky one that Smith, for all his prolific scoring over the last 5 or 6 years for the Australian team, certainly since coming back to the ranks after his sandpaper ban, he freely admits that he does not sleep during a test match. And Tim Paine was asked about this in the context of Smith having a higher scoring rate in the first innings of a test match compared to the second, third and fourth. And the captain's advice: he's got to get better sleep.
Is just how he is, but at the same time I know he's working with people at Cricket Australia and elsewhere on trying to find a better night's sleep. It's not a great endorsement for his koala mattress company, but look, he's working on trying to get better at that and trying to relax a bit more in between games. But I think he performs in first innings, which all good players want to be able to do when the game's up for grabs, and big first innings runs more often than not will win you test matches, so, or certainly put you well in front of the game. So I think if you asked him would he rather score his runs in the first or the second, he's going to take the first every day of the week, and his record is second to none. So he's plugging away at trying to get a better night's sleep, but I don't think it's an easy fix for someone who's wired the way Steve is.
With Australia arriving in Adelaide after a comprehensive victory in Brisbane last week, winning by an innings, I'm sure the fans will be up and about, especially given how many more people come to this ground when they are day-night test matches requiring the pink ball. I mentioned off the top that the first iteration of pink ball cricket was played here in 2015. Well, 4 years on, I spoke to Shannon Gill from Kookaburra, who make the balls, about how it's changed, how the object has evolved over the last 4 years.
This year, only minor tweaks to the production of it, but we're doing a thing called flood washing, which is preparing the leather better so the pink finish stays on the ball longer, stays adheres longer on the ball, so it makes it more resilient. The idea is to keep the ball as pink as possible for longer, so you should be able to see it more clearly right throughout its 80 over life. But it's only a very, very small tweak, but it's part of what we do to make sure we're continuously improving the quality of the ball. If you go back, this is one of the balls pre it being a test level ball, so you can see the pink colour when we first started. Then we went to this colour pink for its first use in first class cricket with a white seam, very different to what we see today. Then this was the ball that was used in the first test match here at the Adelaide Oval. You can see the green seam, slightly different pink. And now we have today, where the pink is a slightly different shade, but it also has a black seam. So all this is done to make sure the ball is more visible on the field.
As for the touring Pakistani side, well, Yasir Shah was absolutely pumped up last week when picking up Stephen Smith for the 7th time in Test cricket. Gave him a bit of a send-off on the way. So we've heard from Smith saying he's extra motivated to do well against the Pakistani leg spinner this week, and Tim Paine reiterated that in his media conference today. But we know that Yasir will be crucial at Adelaide Oval, a spinner always is, as will a bowler who can nip the ball around off the seam on the pitch, which will surely have more grass on it. It's been a precondition of test matches here under lights. They like to keep a little bit more grass on to help the seam bowlers, the old-fashioned bowlers, you might say, and one of those is Mohammad Abbas. He missed out on the Test 11 last week. Surprisingly, we all expected to see him play after taking 17 wickets against Australia in just 2 test matches in Abu Dhabi and Dubai back in late 2018, but he was overlooked in favour of Imran Khan. But the expectation this week is that Mohammad Abbas, who has such a fantastic record in test cricket, will be given an opportunity here to get that pink ball wobbling. With a series to wrap up and potentially whitewash and 60 World Test Championship points on the line, no further motivation is required for the home side. Indeed, they weren't able to close the series out against England, the Ashes, back in September at the Oval, losing that fifth and final Test match. It's been a source of frustration for Payne and his men, so I'm sure they'll come out firing tomorrow. As for Pakistan, we've seen before them thrashed in the first Test and bounce back to their very best in the second. Let's hope, for the sake of the contest, we see that exact thing occur this week at Adelaide Oval. I cannot wait. We'll be here throughout for Cricket Buzz Centre Stage.